Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Welcome, everyone. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ربنا افرغ علينا صبرا وثبت أقدامنا وانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. ربنا افرغ علينا صبرا وتوفنا مسلمين. حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل، نعم المولى ونعم النصير، غفرانك ربنا وإليك المصير. ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما. رب اجعلني مقيم الصلاة ومن ذريتي ربنا وتقبل دعاء. رب اجعل هذا البلد آمنا واجنبني وبني أن نعبد الأصنام. رب لا تذرني فردا وأنت خير الوارثين. وصل اللهم على محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه وسلم. ربنا اغفر لنا وارحمنا وأنت خير الراحمين. آمين. والحمد لله رب العالمين. Amen. Welcome everyone to a new section that we are going to study. This is the chronologically 40th revealed section of the Quran. Alhamdulillah, we have studied 40 sections of the Quran. So 39 we studied. This is going to be the 40th. Alhamdulillah, it's a great if you like, progression in understanding the Quran. Of course, our principles in studying to see how we should understand the Quran as related to our practical life. We are not studying from the Arabic perspective. We are not studying from grammar side of it, even rhetoric side of it, but we benefit from them definitely. And also, we don't give much historical background, but we know that these things, this Quran was revealed in an historical context. But within the historical context, it made sense and the people lived by it. They didn't even need for an interpretation, commentaries on the verses, because the Prophet was among them and they were just experiencing what the Quran was revealing. It is verses according to the living conditions of that time. So they don't need, because the companions never asked, let's study this one, let's study this section of the Quran. And also there were no companion writing commentaries on it, but they were studying, they were trying to understand what the Quran was really teaching them. It wasn't difficult for them to see what is going on in the content of the verses or sections of the Quran. But it is difficult for us now because we have to take the same text and apply it to our practical life. It's not that easy to do that. And we have to appreciate the difficulties in relating the content of the Quran to our practical life here within the conditions of ourselves. It is very difficult. So this aspect of the Quran is not studied heavily as the other aspects of the Quran have been studied. For example, the Quran and Hadith relationship, Quran's historical background, comparison with other religious scriptures, and also historical background were really discussed a lot, and especially the verses related to belief matters They have been also discussed a lot, and lots of controversial understandings appeared in the history, but later on people got tired of it and left it behind and started studying, concentrating on the rhetorical side, grammatical side, and historical background. But bringing them into our life, of course, we see lots of studies, quite a number of studies about ethical teachings of the verses, ethical teachings. But belief subjects and putting the belief into our living conditions right now is not heavily studied. Here and there, lots of references to it. Of course, it is not completely neglected, but it is not a principle of a traditional tafsir that I'm going to study the Qur'an, how I can apply it to my life. Unfortunately, this is a very barren area in studying the Quran, because in the course of time, centuries by centuries, of course, the lifestyle, the civilizations were not really changing as fast as we are experiencing now. Almost every decade, a new generation live in a completely different context of life. Even in the among the siblings, if there is the gap between something 6, 7, 8 years of age, then they find themselves to understand each other quite difficult, let alone the father and parents, father, mother, and the children. Generation conflict is heavily taking place everywhere, and especially in the Muslim world. Why in the Muslim world? Because non-Muslim world, which is called usually, not only Muslim world, really non-religiously oriented civilizations, they have their secular life. No one is disturbed about it. There was no conflict. Everybody is seeking his own worldly enjoyment. Agreement is there. Whereas in believing societies, especially particularly among Muslim societies, generation difference and conflicts are taking place heavily, because each generation finds the new generation is engaged in a completely different world. They are frightened. Of course, doesn't mean that definitely worse, but nowadays it doesn't show any betterment, unfortunately, because people are becoming more and more self-centric, self-confidence oriented, material concerns, worldly happiness. People are heavily under the influence of this worldwide civilization and understanding. That is one of the reasons makes this aspect of the Quran, to study this aspect from this aspect of the Quran, is difficult, because let's say earlier on generations, every 1 or 2 centuries, you can see some sort of change in the society. And as it comes closer to the 21st century, the change becomes the gap of the change, or distance between the change becomes narrower. Now it is almost, not almost really, I would say, to my perspective, every decade is a completely different way of life. Now, after this computer and internet and other facilities started becoming widespread, and social media is influencing all over the world at the same time. Everything became available to the new generation from the age of three, unimaginable, let alone 2 years old. I even see a year and a half child has something in front of a screen, anything, tablet mostly, or telephone, and going out in the pram or how do you say, rollers, and in the street, there are lots of things exciting for the child should be to pay attention to and keep himself busy. Now they have the screen, they are lost in the screen, and their parents take them out in the countryside or somewhere to go so that they will feel comfortable. But the cars and especially vans, the children sit at the back with their seatbelt. They have to. That's the necessary things, the legal as well, legal necessity as well. But the car producers put a screen automatic, taken for granted. There is now for the child's section. And instead of looking around and enjoying the forests, animals, or farms on the street, they are as if sitting in the house. No, they are lost in this world, artificial world, virtual. They are living in a virtual world now. How many years it took? Now, 10, 20 years. Now is AI, is artificial intelligence is developing very fast, and everybody is away from the books. Everybody is not in, people are not interested in learning anything. If they need, just ask AI. Even I do. So to just AI, they don't have to learn, they don't have to buy books, they don't have to keep no ideas, nothing. They don't have any book. They don't need it because available online. And that is why the interest center is really very fast swinging towards video games. This is not a complaint. I'm not saying it is bad, it is good, no judgment, but definitely society is changing almost every 5 years. So every 5 years, a new version of the interpretation of commentaries on the Qur'an, interpretations of the Qur'an should be developed, produced, and presented to the new generation. So it is becoming harder and harder and harder working on the Qur'an from this side. I thought for many years ago, I decided, no, I have to go and study classical sources and see how can I update them to my life. Not updating the Quran, but the information I obtain from these books written in 12th century, 10th century, or 18th century, 19th century. There are great commentaries made in 800s. So better try to read them, skim all of them, pages of information, get only one paragraph. Maybe, I can use it, I can use it. So it is really taking a lot of my time. How can I take it into, at least in this century context, I'm not able to, I don't think I am addressing at all to the needs of the maybe 16, 18 years old below generation. I don't know them. Even their parents don't know them. what they are doing. So there must be another person who is really, who will take up this task, but hard. But I believe me, very hard, very hard. How can I utilize it? How can I, my books and everywhere, my notes and my close friends know it. And I don't know. How can I really expect anybody who would go into the world of 16 below years old, maybe 18 below years old, new generation, see which kind of feelings they have, what they are experiencing, accordingly skim the Qur'an and all the available references and try to refer to their practical life. It is very hard. Studying Arabic it needs energy, yeah. It needs patience, consistency. I believe that, yeah. But it is not enough. When you study the Quran, Arabic literature seriously, and grammar, and especially rhetoric, it needs at least, I don't think 10 years is enough. I don't think so. But after this, you have to come back and have the general perspective of the story of Islamic heritage. So that is, Quran has thousands of tafsir, commentaries on it. Volumes of them. Okay. So somebody's mic was open and it was attracted my attention. Speak. All right, that's it. No time. There is no need. So quite normal. We are human beings. I muted it. Don't worry. So, and then come to this generation, learn their word, how they feel, what they need, and then go over the Quran, but you must be full-fledged to grasp the meaning of the El Said Mohammed, your mic keeps opening. Thank you, because it really damages the recording. Okay, now we will study the section Jinn. It is hard to me. It was hard to me to prepare myself, but I must admit, I think I can make sense of it a little bit. I can make sense of it a little bit at least. I don't claim that I solved the problem. No, it is not easy to say. But first of all, my request from you is, please, 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 don't listen to this section about Jinn with a background knowledge about Jinn stories. They are all garbage. Throw them away. All garbage. So we will have the real existential side of Jinn, what they are, and how we should really, not the Jinn, nothing to do with Jinn stories. No, Jinn got this, controls that. They are idiotic interpretations. But we have to understand the reality of ontologically consistent reality of Jinn. So if someone has these old Jinn stories, people play with this one, that one, and say that now I am calling jinns, or these are nothing to do with the reality. Yes, some people may get in touch with them. That is very possible, but it doesn't mean that jinn matter should be dealt with through stories, narrations. So somebody maybe may have developed their feelings so that they can communicate with the other side of the world we will study, and accordingly they may try to utilize them, which is possible, and together with them. But Prophet Muhammad والسلام, has never encouraged anybody to do anything like that, and on the contrary, definitely prohibited. Don't deal with this kind of business, if you like, or matters, if you like. They are respected creatures, and we will study them. I don't want to say more, because we will go step by step, inshallah. So, inshallah, we are ready. Now, first, introduction to section Jinn. Oh, and this is the related introductory verses and explanations. There are other verses in the Quran, apart from the verses within the section of Jinn. So we will see how the Quran deals this matter in a general perspective. So here we are. We are not going to start studying the Jinn, the section of the Quran, before having an idea what Jinn is really, what the Quran is talking about when it says Jinn. But the Quran is not hesitant, saying that, oh, there may be some other creatures. No, it's definitely there is. It is so sure. That is why we have to prepare ourselves how the Quran introduced at least the concept of jinn on a sure base, and how we should prepare our minds to study this section. I thought this is necessary. Okay. Now, let's say one thing that we have to understand, although we are not going to study the content of these verses, which are not the verses of the section Jinn, just to get some concepts from the Quran, to prepare our minds which kind of creatures they are. For example, here, حتى إذا بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم حتى إذا جاء أمرنا ففارت النور فقل نحمل فيها من كل زوجين اثنين وأهلك إلا من سبق عليه القول ومن آمن وما آمن معه إلا قليل. So I made the stress wrong. إلا من سبق عليه القول ومن آمن وما آمن معه إلا قليل. So when our command came, it is about the story of Noah and the flood. It is about the flood. We have nothing to do with it now. We shouldn't divert our attention to this subject. But where we have to concentrate on, I'll let you know, or I have already underlined it. And water gushed up out of the earth. We said, place on board this ark, every kind. Here is the word, the concept. We have to get ready to prepare our minds and to understand. And we can talk about this matter only as far as this verse is concerned, because the other verses are, if you go, what this, command came, which kind of command, water gushed out of the earth, what shall I do with it? Or what is it to do with me? It happened during the Noah's time, Noah's flood time. It is not our subject now. And I don't think anyone will be bringing this subject into discussion. But here, what I have underlined is our interest. Yeah. Every kind on the board of arc, every kind a pair, two of each species. Now, zevjain, let's go the Arabic word. Zevjain. Oh, sorry. Oh, I cannot do in this forum. I wanted to highlight. Can I highlight? No, it doesn't let me. Okay, technically impossible. So, min kullin zevjainin. From each of them, look, from each of them, zevjain, zevj means pair. Zevjain, two pair. And doubles it, ithnain here, my cursor shows. Oh, ithnain. Two pairs. Well, what does it mean? Pairs. But two pairs. Okay. A pair, I translated it, of course, benefiting from others as well, definitely. I'm not inventing anything by myself. So on the ark, Prophet Noah asked to get from every kind a pair, two of each species. And your own family, that is related to Noah's story, except those against whom the sentence has already been passed, so those deniers, and those who have believed, and those who have believed. So bring the believers ones on it, it means automatically the believer ones will be saved on the Ark of Noah, because we understand Ark of Noah is for the ones who Allah sent to save the believers, or it represents Noah's message. So whoever follows the Noah's message, he is saved from the flood. So though only a few believed with him. Okay, that is again related to Noah's story. We understand from this verse that, first of all, everything has its pairs. The first thing everybody understands that man, woman, the male, female. Now, female, men, woman, or male side of other animals, female side of other animals, and also male, female in the pollution? No. Pollution, I think. No. Oh, when the plants, how is the word?
Pollinizing. It's called pollinizing.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Pollinizing, male, female. Of course, it is a new thing. I don't know when it was discovered, maybe a century ago, at the most 2 centuries ago. During the Prophet's time, it is impossible to be known. But this verse hints it. So because everything is saved there, so twins. It is interesting. I will go, why 2 twins, 2 pairs. We will study that, inshallah, as much as we have time. Oh, the times. Okay, we have time, inshallah. I will be careful about Maghrib prayer in New York, so it shouldn't be too late. We should try to stop at 7, inshallah. I'm reminding myself. So, we have to understand that these 2 twins, makes the things a bit mysterious, if you like, or difficult to understand. But we know that the universe is established, the system of the universe, we call it order of the universe, all universe. In its entirety, it is perfectly working. And there is no discordance in the order of the universe. There is no conflict in the order of the universe. But order is such that from one aspect, life comes in. From another aspect, people and living beings die. Even inanimate beings die. Galaxies die. Yep. From one aspect, the universe is expanding. From another aspect, black hole is swallowing galaxies. I mean, when the galaxies die, it is symbolized as black hole. For a believer, it's not a black hole at all. It's white hole. Why? It is transferred into the eternal life. Because they don't believe in the creator. This kind of people who do this kind of interpretations, they say, we see that, yeah, the galaxies is getting old and old and on, and moving towards somewhere and dying. But order of the universe never, ever becomes upset, disorder. Never. What never means, from the beginning of its creation, most probably, of course, we don't know when, but most probably, if it is a beginning, it must have an end, and until the end, it will have its consistency, coherency, in perfect order, in and of itself. Right? Inshallah. This is important to me. So, we see that although, for example, this computer works perfectly, it is consistent within its order, yeah? Like your computer, your telephone, or any machine you use. But this computer doesn't work, is not, its order of working is not constructed in such a way that one side is opposite of other side, and although two contradicting forces or conditions of existence are contradictory, but at the same time, the result is complementary. Amazing. The universe is like this. The computer is not like this. It works only one smooth order. But the construction of the universe has all this dual side, or this attraction, especially this gravity, attraction and repulsion. One of them is pulls, one of them pulls, the other one runs away and repulses, but at the same time, balance is established, order is perfectly working. There is no peace, as far as theoretically I would know, not physically. I am not studying in the CERN center. Physically, they may find it or not, but I am convinced within myself that everything, not only the whole of the universe, including every single being in the universe, must have its order in its contradicting conditions. Why? It is an amazing, definitely, I am proud of saying this, not ashamed of it, miraculous way of creation, and the creator is challenging human mind, that you cannot explain it, saying that it is developed, order happened by itself, accidental or random happenings. It is natural. It is evolving to adapt itself. But there is pair, contradicting yet complementary. And never this balance is lost. The order is established in this way, and everything is created within these conditions, so that you cannot say, bird developed, my classical example. Bird evolved by itself, but if you take a bird, and it is really disgusting to imagine it, but sliced it into two from the very middle, what you will find? Complementing but contradicting two sides perfectly, as my hands here, your hand here, my mind, like this. Divided, perfectly equal, my two eyes, two sides of my nose, my eyes, in such a perfect coordination that this is here. You know, the distance between two eyes may be 4 inches, and that is why we can see everything in far away, so balanced that in far away, which is closer to me, which is further ahead from me, far away. Why? Because of design. If only one eye, you wouldn't. You will see everything in distance equal. Which one is front? Which one is closer? Which one is not? You cannot say. This symmetry, it is developed by itself. This eye. Okay. How about this eye? Perfectly arranged. Impossible to explain with evolution. Impossible. The first pair, and this contradictory yet complementary nature of creation. Decoration, impossible to explain it to accidental happenings. Symmetry, decoration is symmetry. Two wings of the bird are symmetrically designed. Everything symmetrically designed, but in such a way that they make a whole beautiful, attractive appearance. So, beautification. Beautification is also taking place. Symmetrical, complementing each other. Two sides are opposite directions, but complementing each other. Amazing. Only the way of explaining this phenomenon, miraculous, absolute creator's miraculous acts of creation. No way to another way for the human reasoning. I'm not saying Qur'an says so. So our religious sources teach this. No. Pure logical confirmation, the result. Here is the universe. Here I am, what I am experiencing as a human being. Conscious, reasoning, intellectual, full of feelings, human being. That is what my reality is. Everything is balanced as a result of this zawjain. But we will also take into consideration ithnain, a pair of two of its species. So a pair two. So we will study. I am excited about it, and if you get excited, what is this? I say, settle down, sit down, and lean against your chair or wherever you sit. So wait, inshallah. I said that is the point we should get out of this verse. Another one, I'm just going further. If there were no comment, inshallah, but we will go step by step. Okay, another, but giving an example. This is almost the same content of the verse that we are going to study again, زوجين اثنين, or two, every kind, in pairs, two. But because of there is an example here, and we will study this. بسم الله. وهو الذي مد الأرض وجعل فيها رواسي وأنهارا ومن كل الثمرات جعل فيها زوجين اثنين يغشي الليل النهار إن في ذلك لآيات لقوم يتفكرون. So, and he is the one who spread out the earth and placed firm mountains and rivers upon it and created fruits of every kind in pairs, but two. I haven't taken notes here, to cover two pairs from each kind. And he covered the day with night. Give us an example. Surely in this are signs for those who reflect. We created the things in this such a zewjain, pairs, like the day and night. So one of them goes, the other one takes out. One of them goes, the other one takes out. What? Why? How? Because of the rotation of the the earth, globe of earth. And also, of course, it is not here. We know that the relationship between the earth, globe of earth, and the sun, and at the same time, a moon. These are the clear example, observable examples, open to human naked eyes. Everyone with no knowledge of astronomy, nothing at all, like me, I am one of them, they can see the moon, they can see the earth, they can see the sun, but continuously changing their positions. It means not static, precisely, geometrically, precisely adjusted, but not fixed. Continuously changing. This is important. Why? You can see that it is fixed, but in a perfect wisdom, they are adjusted. Even sun and the earth relationship, so that the earth turns, and the day and night demonstrates that something is going on. It is not fixed. It is not fixed like I made a machine, it works only this way. No, it continuously changes. That is another challenging of the creation, so that human intelligence will say, no, it cannot happen accidentally. I cannot say it is natural like this. Who established this wonderful creation so precisely adjusted everything? And it is for a purpose. First, to show that it is not a fixed order, it continues to change, universe continuously change, everything is continuously change, because ordinary people, they don't know that atoms are continuously changing, electrons are continuously changing their position. They don't know this. They know only the relationship between sun, the moon, and the earth. They see, wow, three of them are perfectly adjusted to each other, making a perfect sense, and although continues to change, but never order turns into disorder or chaos. There is nothing in the verse, nothing in the macro world or micro world, any sign of chaotic activity. Now, chaos, order came out of chaos. There is not only one universal order. In each of everything, there is an order. Now, you open your peeled orange, you see symmetry, you see pair on this side, both sides. Or peeled orange, you see the segments. Open each of the bubbles in it, and also perfectly arranged, perfectly inside and a membrane around it, perfectly symmetrically arranged. Not accidental, symmetrically arranged. Every segment of the orange is symmetrically arranged. They are almost the same size. Why? Why? They should symmetrically evolve accidentally as a result of random happenings. Why should there be? Why should there be a beauty? Why the orange will have its segments, and in each segment it has its own, I don't know the name, the bubble-like thing. They are full, beautiful juice. It is reserved within them. It is impossible to say anything but Allahu Akbar, Subhanallah. Nothing else, nothing else. God, impossible to imagine which kind of being he is. I don't know, but his work is in front of my eyes. In front of my eyes. Such a being must be only describable by saying absolute. I don't know, I cannot say anything else. He's an absolute being. He. That's it. He is an absolute being. Submission. With what? With my mind, with my intelligence, with my consciousness, with my feelings, all human side. Even my body. The simplest side of human being is the body. It also witnesses that. Impossible. So mentioning the day or night, although the things are in pair, they continue to change, but we cannot explain the pair, existence of everything in pairs, complementary, although nature-wise, and their capacities are contradictory. One of them is pulls, the other one is repulses, but perfectly well arranged. Walnut, break it, see inside, symmetry, زوجين اثنين. Perfect. Both sides. It means not accident. Not accident. Same design on two sides. Not accident cannot refer to any single being in the world to random happenings. Impossible. So this gives an example available for everyone, children, illiterate people, the most educated intellectual people. Everyone can always see 24/7, experience this perfect acts of creation. No way to miss it, no way to escape from our mind. And I didn't know, no way to have an excuse at all. It's amazing, it's amazing. The creation is amazing. That's why people, very rare though, in Islamic literature, they call the universe is the Qur'an. Direct speech of our Creator introducing himself. And also this Qur'an, the universe, speaks to me in a perfect witnessing in front of my eyes. I can teach, I can eat, I can communicate with, I can love the flowers. All the, I don't know the name, please help me. Each leaf of the flower, what is it called? It has a name. Do you see leaf of a, for example, rose or tulip? Each tulip, let me see. Petal. Thank you, Hatice. So, yeah, petal is completely complementary and symmetric with each other. Each petal, if you slice them from the middle, two sides are also symmetric. Imaginable. I mean, I don't know how people can ignore this reality. None of my business. The Qur'an sometimes gets angry with them and said that they will really be very sorry. They will really be, I can give them a permission. I am Halim. It means I am clement. I say, okay, give more opportunity. They may think, they may give up. Give them the opportunity. Of course, God knows, but I have to experience it. God's knowledge to him. I have to experience it. That's how I need to do that. That's why he says, okay, you will come one day to me, and then you won't have any other more. That's it. After graduation, education, finish, school is closed. That's it. Finish. Then I will tell them, how could you deny this? How could you deny? So Quran keeps saying this really in his verses. Okay, well, the verse I didn't understand. I didn't remember, not understand. The verses, how can you deny God? How can you, if anybody remembers it? Okay, I couldn't remember. All right. Now, of course, this verse, when we start from the beginning, we are not going to study, because we have been studying with قُلْنَا لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ اسْجُدُوا لِآدَمَ فَسَجَدُوا إِلَّا إِبْلِيسَ. We studied heavily on our human journey, human life journey, I think it was the title, and also the story of Adam, heavily. So we are not going to talk about it anymore. Now, فَسَجَدُوا إِلَّا إِبْلِيسَ, that is underlined section, is our concern today. Yes, we have 5 minutes. Inshallah, we can do this one. Now, Iblis, إِلَّا إِبْلِيسَ كَانَ مِنَ الْجِنِّ. That is what our concern is all about. فَسَقَ عَنْ أَمْرِ رَبِّهِ. Which one is Iblis? Now, we will understand why pairs, but 2 pairs. Here, the secret is somehow referred in this verse, in this part of the verse. Iblis kana min al-jinni, human, jinn, twin. I mean, how do you say? زوجين, pairs. But فَفَسَقَ عَنْ أَمْرِ رَبِّهِ. Jinn also has 2 pairs. Some of them deviate. Okay, let's read the translation now. But not Iblis. He was one of the jinn, and he disobeyed his Lord's command. They are pairs as well. Believing jinn, believing human, disbelieving jinn. Like exactly believing man, believing in disbelieving man. Or man means human beings. Sorry, something going on here. Side note. Oh, let me see who was. Okay, Sarah, let me look at this. كيف تكفرون بالله وكنتم أمواتا. Yeah, for example, thank you. كيف تكفرون بالله وكنتم أمواتا فأحياكم ثم يميتكم ثم يحييكم ثم إليه ترجعون. Again, here, this pair nature of the universe is discussed. Thank you very much. And there are other verses repeated in the Quran in the same section. Bismillah ar-Rahman. But we don't have time, very limited, so I don't have time to reflect on it. So my mind is. So let's say this one. It is also somehow related to us. How can you refuse to acknowledge God, seeing that you are lifeless and He gave you life, and that He will cause you die, and then He will bring you again life? It means death and life. You will see that everywhere in creation, this pair, death and life. So dead things and life things. Again, among alive things, especially human beings and jinn. So humans, opposite side, jinn. So humans have believing human beings, disbelieving human beings. And jinns have believing jinns, disbelieving jinns. You understand now, slowly, what is pairs, but two. Each pair in itself has own their pair. You got it? The mind is getting ready how the universe has been, the creation has been constructed. So Iblis was the representative of disobeying Lord's command, jinns. Now, أفتتخذونه وذريته أولياء من دوني. Now, are you people going to take him and his disciples, it means his followers, as your masters instead of God? What does it mean? The jinns are two sides. Iblis represents this, deniers, and there are followers in humankind. They are complementary. They are not separated from each other. So contradictory in nature. Jinn's nature of existence is different from human beings' nature of existence. But there are also pairs within them interconnected with each other. What? Believing jinn, believing man. Disbelieving jinn, disbelieving man. Did you get now? Again, I'm repeating. Zawjain is pairs. Ithnain, two. So this miraculous way of the language of the Quran, we understand now in this verse that Iblis was jinn, but representing the disbelieving jinns. Now, of course, we are in contact with Iblis because in the earth, Iblis becomes Shaitan in the language of the Quran. So Shaitan will be now in my practical life, this representing or followers or disciples, as the translation said, disciples of the disbelieving jinn. So we have something in common. Although our nature is completely contradictory, we will see where it is contradictory, inshallah. It's a reminder that you have pairs, and these pairs have, like you also, two pairs in them, in each of them. So be careful which ones you are aligning yourself with. It's a perfect teaching of the Quran. I am amazed. Let me say. Okay, before this is a secret. So again, another very short, because the matter became somehow in our mind the universe is not really unicorn. Unicorn, I think, unicorn, whatever. This is one horn, two. Two. So, وَإِذْ قُلْنَا لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ اسْجُدُوا لِآدَمَ فَسَجَدُوا إِلَّا إِبْلِيسَ. We studied it heavily, saying nothing about it. أَبَى وَاسْتَكْبَرَ وَكَانَ مِنَ الْكَافِرِينَ. وَكَانَ مِنَ الْكَافِرِينَ. Let me see what this Arabic verse, and I underlined where here. Be careful here. Now, remember when he said to the angels, prostrate yourself before Adam, they all prostrated themselves except Iblis, who in his pride refused and thereupon became an unbeliever. It means in our nature, there is no innate thing or any element which motivates us, compels us to follow disbelieving representative of the disbelieving jinn, who is Satan. Yeah. Now Satan, but in this context, the story taking place in paradise, Iblis. The name changes. So this Iblis becomes, because istakbara, it means who became arrogant. So I am not. Made the comparison. We studied this in the story of Adam, who is in his pride, arrogance, refused. Now, if I take arrogant attitude, and we will study how it is, this psychological process is going on, inshallah, next week. But we have to be very careful. If I am proud, not proud, really, arrogant is. If I am arrogant within myself, saying that I'm not going to submit my existence to something else, so I am self-sufficient, and I own my mind, I own my feelings, then that is my body. I can use everything as I want, so I can use everything and abuse everything in the world as I want. And then this person becomes an unbeliever. Iblis represents it in the scenario of the Qur'an, in the presentation of the Qur'an. But we know that Iblis is Satan. We can follow his disciples, his followers, in human form. Those people organize, write books, claim that, tries to really, by playing the words, order came out of chaos. It is very garbage price, full of trick. So just speculations. Anyways, this is the basis of evolution theory. That's why this materialistic interpretation of sight that concerns me about evolution theory. Otherwise, everything is perfectly in order, created as I am growing from babyhood and until the old age, and I am going to die. Everything is, moon is changing its position gradually, perfectly gradually, and the sun is changing its position perfectly gradually. The earth is changing its position perfectly gradually. This gradualness doesn't mean that they are becoming out of each other, perfectly arranged. This is disgusting, these people's playing with the words, and demagogues. They are demagogues to me. So if I take this attitude that I am proud of myself, not being a human being, honorable human being, I am created as an honorable human being. I am proud of my existence because God created me as one of his guests. That is different. That is Quranic pride, if you like. honors human beings. We honor human beings. That is also Qur'an's news. So keep your honor, of course. But it doesn't mean that I'm not going to prostrate before my creator only. My honor doesn't allow me to prostrate before another creatures. So the time is come. So we understand that human beings in nature pure. We may become unbeliever, denier, arrogant, but we are free to choose. But nothing in us really impels on us or forces us to be an unbeliever. No, this is my free choice. But every human quality really encourages me to be a believer, to accept the truth, submit to the truth, accept that you are created, you have a creator. This creator must be the one who created you within the universe in a perfect interaction with everything around you in the universe. So your creator is the one, he must be the one who is the creator of the whole universe. Within it is this perfect order, unimaginably perfect, impossible to explain it away in another way. Wassalamu alaikum. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana innaka antal alimul hakim. Wa akhiru da'wahum and alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.